Hello, horror fans. Welcome back to Jay vs. Horror. I'm your host, Jay Wall, and today, guys, we're going to be talking about mumblecore. Or wait, mumblegore, I should say. That's what they're calling it. And I find it very interesting. I saw all of these films, most of them, before I ever heard the term mumblegore. Personally, it sounds kind of derogatory to me, and most of the directors who are lumped into this category refute that such a subgenre even exists. It's basically more of a byproduct of an era than it really is a subgenre because around the mid 2000s, I'd say around 2005, it became very viable to shoot digitally. These directors found a way in. They didn't have to be tied down by big studios or spend millions of dollars on film. They could shoot digitally, edit it, and create their own films and then take them around to festivals and show them off. So for me, it's something that should be attributed more to technology and timing than any kind of real subgenre. So let's talk about it for a minute. Now, this whole thing started out with mumblecore, and it's listed as a subgenre of independent film characterized by naturalistic acting and dialogue, sometimes improvised, low budget film production, an emphasis on dialogue over plot, which is always a tricky thing, and a focus on the personal relationships of people in their 20s and 30s. So basically, like I said, it feels like a derogatory term to me. It's like saying teenage angst slipped into people's 20s and 30s and caused this entire movement of film. I don't think that's accurate at all, because if that's the case, then we have to go back to films like The Big Chill and The Last Picture Show and Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Anything that examined people in their 20s and 30s having a hard time with life, with moving on with life. And so what? It focuses on interpersonal relationships. I mean, that's not always the case. Sometimes storytelling leads you down that path. However, then we get our spin off subgenre, which is mumblegore. And this is when mumblecore pertains to horror. And it's really just focused on a few directors. I mean, it's mostly anything made by Ty West, Joe Swanberg, Adam Wingard, Simon Barrett, any of those guys, Mark Duplass even. If they made it, then it's mumblegore, because that's the way they shoot films. So it must be on purpose, right? They must be aiming to do this. Let's talk about some of the mumblegore films. I think I've seen them all, and I think most of you guys have too, probably without noticing that you were watching mumblegore, right? It's so ludicrous that you can just see that somebody with a pretentious outlook and like a beanie and a goatee sitting in a coffee shop came up with this stupid term. It starts mumblegore anyway in 2005 with The Roost, apparently from Ty West, and then Murder Party from Jeremy Saulnier. Triggerman, another West film. Homesick and Pop Skull are listed back to back, and those are both Adam Wingard films. There's quite a few here. House of the Devil from T.I. West. Red, White, and Blue from Simon Rumley. A Horrible Way to Die from Adam Wingard. Frozen from Adam Green. I didn't think he knew he was included in the mumblegore section. I wonder if Hatchet counts as mumblegore. No. Does Kong versus Godzilla count as a mumblegore? Somebody should probably tell Adam Wingard. Does Blair Witch count as mumblegore? I mean, somebody should probably tell Adam Wingard. Yeah, but going on here, Silver Bullets Kill List, which is totally not about anybody in their 20s or 30s, but I guess just because of the way it's shot, from Ben Wheatley, is considered mumblegore. The Innkeepers, anything with Ty West's name on it, by the way, they just stamped that. A very interesting film from 2011 called Entrance that I enjoyed a great deal. You're Next, of course, because it's a Wingard film, VHS, which has segments from all these guys in it. Reclusion, Resolution from Josh Benson and Aaron Moorhead, of course, so now they're entered into it. You can imagine that all of their films are part of this too, right? Sightseers from Ben Wheatley, which is about people in their late 30s to 40s. The Battery with Jeremy Gardner, which is totally not anything other than a tremendously great horror film. It's a great zombie film, one of the greatest zombie films of the last 2 decades. The Sacrament, which is about a cult, but just happens to be shot digitally. So if it looks like The Office, folks, if it looks like The Office, then it goes into this category. And basically what they are saying is anything that looks like found footage that's not found footage. Right? That's what they're saying here. If it looks like it was shot digitally and it's not considered found footage, then it falls into mumblegore. Right? Other films include Cheap Thrills, Coherence, Blue Ruin. I mean, it's sad that they're throwing all these films in together because they're nothing alike and they're all great in their own right. 24 Exposures, The Guest, Honeymoon, Creep, Starry Eyes. Just, a onslaught of tremendously great films from this era. They're considered to be mumble gore. Late Phases, which is about people in their damn 50s and 60s. Goodnight Mommy, which is totally, it's not even shot completely digitally. I mean, it is, but there's so much added to that movie as far as effects and things like that it's ridiculous. Southbound, which is an anthology. Be My Cat, a film for Anne. Oh my God, they threw this guy in there. Yeah, that's not mumblegore. It can't be, right? I don't think mumblegore exists, guys. That's what I'm getting to here. I think it's just somebody's way of wanting to label things because they have to have things labeled. If they're not labeled, they can't be put on a shelf properly. And this goes on and on, all the way down to stuff that's just ridiculous, like The Ritual. Yeah. And Rent-A-Pal, even from 2020, is considered to be mumblegore, even though that guy is, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Let's admit that there is no such thing as mumblecore or mumblegore. It's just, people who hate these type of movies being derogatory towards them. Or not even that. It's just something that somebody came up with that they thought sounded cool. So they thought, let's just lump all these movies in together and, we'll call it a subgenre. A subgenre is zombie. A subgenre is animal attack. A subgenre is creature feature. A subgenre is supernatural horror. This is not any of those things. You're not talking about genre here, okay? You're talking about how the film was shot. In some cases, not even that. I don't understand. To me, they just took a entire era of directors who were new and slammed them together, because they don't want to give them the credit of the old generation of directors, like, our favorites like Carpenter and Craven and those guys who shot on film. They don't want to do that, so they want to, put them into a box and label it mumblegore. I'm telling you, man, every time I hear this word, I see some dude in Seattle or Portland just drinking coffee and smoking clove cigarettes and wearing a beanie and glasses when he doesn't need glasses or have much hair. And, I find it totally offensive to an extent. At the same time, I don't take it too seriously because I realize what happened here. Some moron decided that this was a classification and everybody fell into it. One thing I will say, guys, is that list of films I just read off, you should probably watch every single one of them. They're damn good, all of them in their own way. And, the thing is, I feel like in maybe 10, 20 years, a lot of these films will be rediscovered and they'll be praised as some of the greatest horror films of all time. Especially for me, it's stuff like, Adam Wingard's A Horrible Way to Die, Simon Rumley's Red, White, and Blue, Ty West's The House of the Devil, Ben Wheatley's Kill List. It goes on and on. These are some of the greatest horror films made in this era. Starry Eyes, Creep. And it's sad that they want to put them all together. Sightseers, The Battery, the VHS movies. They are nothing alike. There's nothing, just those three I just mentioned. VHS, The Battery, and Sightseers are all lumped into this thing that they're calling a subgenre. That they're nothing alike. Just because they were shot digitally does not mean they are anything alike. So yeah, let's campaign and see if we can get rid of this term. Maybe we won't. Maybe we will. Maybe in 10 years I'll be talking about mumblegore like it's a real thing, but I doubt it. Alright guys, I just wanted to stop by and have that conversation today. We're not going to do a lot else. We have a taping tonight with Wesley Jones from Real Talk. 10 years ago, I used to get asked about giallos all the time. What is a giallo, Jay? How do you define giallo? And now it's turned into people asking me, what's mumblegore, Jay? I mean, have you heard of mumblegore? And yes, I have heard of it, even though I don't think I started hearing that term until around 2014 or something. And at that point, I had seen most of these films, and I just kind of rejected the term. But I see people throwing it around a lot because it makes them sound smart, that maybe they know something that everybody else doesn't know. How incredible is that, right? All right, horror fans, we love you, and we will talk to you the next time we've got something worth talking about. Bye.